Hello everybody, welcome back to another Woodworking Wisdom. Today we're in our little crafty workshop and we are going to make a kind of crescent shape single pen holder. These look really nice, they can be great on your desk. If you're a pen maker and you sell your pens, these can look really nice on your stool if you just want to highlight a single pen, maybe one that's really pretty or special. But yeah, great on the desk, great to sell to other pen makers. So yeah, and a really simple, quick project. Not much to it. We're going to whiz through this today and show you how we're going to make one of these crescent-shaped pen holders. Okay, so I think first things first, we're going to make a little template, and I'm just going to quickly show you a really easy way to make a template. So let's go to the bench. So this is the pen holder. We've kept it really quite plain. We don't want to take too much away from the design of the pen. We don't want to make it too intricate. So I've kept it a really kind of simple shape. And then of course that makes it less work for us as well. So it's a win-win. So it's going to hold your pen, display your pen in that kind of diagonal position. Great for just picking up and doing your work. So we've got a little pad here. We're going to first of all draw a big circle, and of course you could do this with a compass, but we're going to use a shameless plug with our machine wax. So I'm just going to draw a circle around the machine wax, and then we're going to use a bit of packing tape to draw the inner circle. And just try and keep this gap same all the way around. So just going to pop that on center and draw around. Okay. Now we want a little bit of weight on this, just on the back edge here. So I'm gonna come round. It's difficult to draw upside down. So we're trying to echo this shape here. So all I'm going to do is just bring this out. We want to keep a curve going on. So I'm just going to curve this down. And because we've got this lined paper, I can see across the bottom here where we can add that up. Just going to quickly grab a rule. Okay. And then draw a straight line across the bottom there. So that's going to come back in around this shape and try and keep that curve kind of flowing on the back. Good. Now if that's the bottom of our pen holder, we want to kind of roughly pop where we're going to put our pen, the sort of angle that we want it to sit at. So using this rule, it's going to give me a good idea of where the pen's going to sit. So I'm just drawing a line right the way through our little template. And then we've got some indicators of we're going to drill in the top here to create that little section. Yeah, so really quick and easy way to make a template. We're going to bring these parts forward just a touch so that there's a little overhang, and we can always adjust that a bit later. Okay, so pair of scissors, we want to cut that out, and it's going to, this is the piece that we want. It's going to look a bit like that. Okay, so nice and easy way of making a template for your pen holder. Nice little offcuts of this spalted beech, and we want to try and keep some of this nice patterning in. So I'm going to use that as my bottom corner, and we can see there's some really interesting things going on in this piece of timber. So just positioning this on the bottom there, and we can just draw around this shape. Again, you could use these straight on the piece of timber if you wanted and just make your template straight on there, but it's quite nice to have one if you wanted to do it repeatedly, to have a little template to follow. So I'm just trying to get that flat edge flush to the bottom of the piece of wood so that everything sits nicely. So just going around my template, quite a thick pencil, and I'm just coming in from that edge there. We don't want to flat on the back of it, so we need to cut right the way round. And sometimes when we get too close to the edge, the blade pops out on the bandsaw, so we'll have a flat spot there. It's not too much trouble to sand it back in, but we'll save ourselves the job if we can. So just using the curve, so I keep wiggling this, using the curve of my wrist to bring this curve round. If you're doing a lot of these, it might be worth making a little template out of a ply or something like that. Okay, so really quite simple, easy peasy, and we also want to just make a quick note of where the pen's going to sit. So remember, we drew those lines coming across that way. I'm just going to extend that up here. So that we know where the pen's going to sit, where we're going to drill a hole in this top section. Okay, so find that midpoint there, so we're just going to make a little mark there, and then we need to measure our piece of timber. I think this one was 25, so around about an inch, and we're going to go halfway, 12.5. Okay, so that is where we're going to drill our hole. Let's do it this way around so you can still see the template. And I'm just going to adjust that camera ever so slightly so we can see what's going on. Okay, cool. So I've got a 13mm drill bit. You may want to go a bit bigger if you're using a different pen kit. I'm making a display for our little pencil that we've just been using. So, you know, check your pen out. You want a drill bit that's probably a couple of mil bigger at least, to kind of receive the pen or pencil, whatever it is you're making your stand for, and just select the right drill bit, the right size, and it wants to be a bit bigger than the diameter of the pen because we don't want it kind of sitting forward. This is our little Celtic knot pen, so if I was to make a stand for that one, I'd make it with just a slightly bigger drill bit so that can sit back in that little cradle. Okay, so we've got some lines of kind of where we want to drill. So that's going to give us a rough angle, but I'm going to start off the cut going straight down, and then once we've cut a circle, we can lean the drill bit back and start to drill down at that angle. This is kind of a rough way of doing it. If you wanted to get it perfectly aligned, get something like a sliding bevel, and just have it up at that angle, and then once we cut this top, we score the top there, we can drop that down so that the drill bit is parallel with our sliding bevel. We're going a bit, we're making a slightly easy version, or a slightly less accurate version, I guess. But that lean back angle is not critical. So we're going to drill it to that point. So we've scored all the way round. That is a lip and spur drill bit, so that little spur is made a hole there that's going to allow me to drop the drill bit back, but it's still going to keep it nice and central. So we can start leaning the drill back until we're roughly in line with our angle there. Oh, my drill's running out of batteries. Let's have a little look-see. I think we can make it work. Let's keep going. So, excuse me a moment, I've just got to change the battery on my drill. I should have done that before. Okay, so new battery in the drill. We're full. Off we go again. So I'm just going to rotate the drill bit slowly to get back to where we were. And then, yeah, just keep drilling. And we're not taking this right the way down through to meet the other part of the crescent. We're literally just drilling that top bit to produce the little cradle at the top. The bottom bit we can do with something else. So, ready to cut on the scroll saw. You could do this on the bandsaw as well, really quick on the bandsaw, but it just leaves a bit, you get the kind of scratch pattern from the tooth on the bandsaw. I'm not sure if you can see it on this top edge, but the bandsaw leaves a slightly rougher finish than we would get on the scroll saw. So we're going to cut it on the scroll saw and save some of that sanding time. Okay, so we're on the scroll saw here. And we're literally just going to cut around this shape. Super easy. I think that looks like a number 7 modified geometry, so it's going to be fine for cutting this this little outline. I'm hooked up to an auto extractor. Just going to come in on this top area here. And you can expect it to cut really easy where we've got that that waste material already taken out. Just going to hit the air filter on the extractor so it's not thumping. And then away we go. Let's get my little air blower in place and keep that cut line in view. So you can see I've come off the line there, but I'm not making a big turn to get back on it. Trying to just avoid that little flat on the back. So just coming in ever so slightly from that back edge. And then that curve kind of lessens on here where we've put a little bit more material on to keep the weight. So when we put our pen in, it doesn't tip. Slowing down on the little exit there so it cuts its way out, it doesn't break the fibres. We've got our flat here where the pen stand's gonna sit. Then we've got quite a soft round into that end bit. So we're not switching directions really quickly, we're going to just keep that nice and rounded, so gentle feed onto the blade as we're coming around that corner. So just switching directions, we're turning anti-clockwise now. just slowly come around that curve. And this is a beech, so it's actually quite hard. In sections where we have this bolting, sometimes it can be a bit soft, but this is actually a really solid piece of beech. So it's not kind of breezing through it, we're just keeping that, that pressure, that feed rate nice and steady. Remember, we kind of want a rounded corner here, so feeding it onto the blade whilst twisting. And I'm going to do the same here, so I'm going to feed it onto the blade while turning the project, and then it's just cut straight out. Okay, so we've got our little hole at the top here. If you've got a thin pen, you could keep it as a round hole, but you'd have to just retrieve the pen out the top of the project. I'm going to cut through that. So remember, we want those sort of rounded edges, those soft edges, so just leading in a slight angle. And then the same on the bottom. There we go. So now we've got that little kind of cutout. It doesn't matter if these edges start to come back in, that's fine. We can file them off, sand them off. But we want to keep that nice and central. And yeah. So really pretty timber. I'm lucky. And of course, there's a bit of little offcut here. You could get a few pens out of that. You could have a matching pen and holder. But we're going to pop that to one side at the moment. So we're not really that far off, you know, really simple. You could knock a bunch of these out, you know, in one go. We want to do a little bit of sanding. So we can sand in here. Something like a bobbin sander would be great on this, just to whiz around there. I'm just going to use a little bit of abrasive just to take off any little marks where we may have paused or a little shift in direction. Dust mask, if you're doing a lot of this, I'm just quickly whizzing over. And where the pen's going to sit, so it's going to go something like this. We want a little kind of indent, nice and central. So I'm going to use a pen like that and just pop a little dot on there, just up in this part. And then you could use something like a bradawl to make a little mark. Give it a wiggle to open that up a bit. And then I've got like a smaller drill bit. I think this is about 4 mil. And I'm just going to try and get that angle as best I can by resting up against that little cradle. It's not going to be totally in line, but it doesn't really need to be. Let's get that a little bit bigger so that the drill bit doesn't drift. Pop that in there. And we don't need to go too deep with that. This is really just a little notch for the pen to sit in, or the kind of tip of the pen to just locate on. Okay. So I quite like to knock off all these hard edges, but that's the kind of design, you know, that's up to you. You could cut a little bit out of here if you wanted to have, you know, a bit more shape, or you wanted to continue that curve to come up and then come back down. But I'm just leaving that solid because we've got quite a pretty piece of timber here. Don't want to take any of that sort of, you know, natural beauty away from it. So abrasives, I'm just going to almost round over the edges. So I'm just coming in with a bit of abrasive, almost at a 45 degree, and this is quite a rough piece. This is about a 150. So just knock off those hard edges and go all the way around. You may have some pencil marks. I've got little pencil marks here. So standing with the direction of the grain to just knock them off. We'll go around all of these edges. Okay, so we've knocked off all the kind of hard edges now, just softened it in, and the drill bit in there, we could just give that a little sand. We might want to, like I said before, knock these little corners back a bit to make it more of an open mouth. But, you know, those little tweaks you can do however you like. And just knocking off the corners there. Cool. So we've got a little pen holder nearly. I'm just going to chuck a bit of oil on this and we're pretty much done. So you can see how quick and easy that's going to be. I'm just going to use a bit of finishing oil. So a little bit of finishing oil here. I've just popped a bit in the cap, and I'm just going to put a glove on. I see on lots of videos people really kind of massaging oil in with their hands and stuff, but that's not for me. I'll put it on with a brush and a glove. So oil going to get soaked straight in on this very dry piece of spalted beech, and the oil will show any little bits where you've gone wrong with sanding and things like that, so you may need to revisit it with a bit of abrasive. But it's really drinking it in. I'm allowing it to just drink it off the brush. And you can start to see all the kind of lighter and darker bits in the spalting. Really pretty. This end grain just really sucks it in. And just, like I say, I'm allowing it to do that. It's taking that right into the workpiece. Bit of blue roll. I'm just going to check over, make sure we've not left any little patches. I think we're pretty good. Maybe just a touch in there. A quick wipe over. And there we go. Really quick and simple little pencil pen holder. Look really nice on your pen displays if you're a pen turner and you're selling your pens and you want to pick one out from the crowd. This can be a really nice little project, and really quick and simple too. All right. Okay. So that's about it for today. Like I said, a nice, quick and easy one. Really good to show off your pens. A lovely little thing to have on the desk, or, you know, on your craft displays if you're a pen maker. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you again soon for more woodworking wisdom. Hit the like and subscribe, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.